Disney's Coyote Tales is a Disney feature length film that was released in 1991. And I have to say, it's not bad, but having seen The Coyote's Lament, which I'll talk about in a moment, it wasn't as interesting as it perhaps would have been if I hadn't seen The Coyote's Lament. The Coyote's Lament is a short film or episode that aired as part of Disneyland or the Walt Disney series Walt Disney Presents, and it's about coyotes, basically. I've reviewed it separately, but to very briefly describe it, we have an older coyote telling a younger coyote all of the great things about being a coyote and what it means. We have some great animation, and it's tremendous fun. Coyote Tales is a longer version of that, and we do have the Coyote's Lament as part of it, but we have a lot of other Disney cartoons, and that in itself is not a bad thing, but the bit that is obviously the appeal is the Coyote's Lament. And if you've already seen that, and indeed if you've seen it recently, it is definitely going to feel very repetitive. So it depends on what you're looking for. That part itself, I have nothing but praise for. But we do have some random cartoons. Now the cartoons do make sense in a way, because as we have this older coyote telling the younger coyote what it means to be a coyote, he's also telling him about other animals and what it's like to live in the habitats of other creatures, and we get other cartoons and a lot of Donald Duck. There's actually a lot of Donald Duck in this, which I love because I love Donald Duck as a character. He is my favourite of the Sensational Six, but it just feels a little bit random, and it feels like the Coyote's Lament was so good that they didn't really need to make this longer version unless they'd perhaps included a lot of new footage, which is not the case. So it just feels like an excuse to release something without having to create any fresh content, and it's unfortunately just not that fascinating. The clip selection is okay, so if you're looking for a way to discover a random assortment of Disney cartoons, this might be a pretty way to go about it. But if you've recently watched The Coyote's Lament, and you're not that bothered about watching random Disney clips, then I wouldn't say it's worth it. If you've never seen The Coyote's Lament, then I'd say either this or that is worth checking out, depending on what you have the time for, or whether you're in the mood for just the shorter animation or a longer one with some clips edited in. I will say the clips are edited in very well. The clips make sense within the context of the film, but the appeal is definitely the part with the coyotes. And because it's just lifted from the Coyote's Lament, it's not fresh, it's not different, and I just feel like there wasn't any need to make a longer version. So it's not terrible. Had I never seen the Coyote's Lament, I probably would have enjoyed it more, or if I hadn't seen the Coyote's Lament for a long time. It's kind of my own fault in a way, because originally I was going to watch this, and then I realised that it comprised largely the Coyote's Lament, so I went and watched that first. And I kind of regret doing that now. But whichever way you choose to watch it, I think you'll enjoy the coyote part. That's pretty decent. If you're in the mood for some random Disney clips included, then absolutely. But if you're not that bothered about watching some random clips that you may have seen recently, then I'd say just checking out the shorter Coyote's Lament might be the best option. The animation is fine, the coyote part is really good, but as I said, doesn't really feel like they needed to do a longer version, because I personally don't feel like it added very much. But if you're in the market for some random Disney clips that, as I said, are edited in pretty well, then sure, it might be worth checking out. Disney's Coyote Tales is okay if you want something longer. Personally, I'd recommend The Coyote's Lament, but either way, I think you'll enjoy the coyote aspect.